Hello, Oracles. Oracle Tim here from Oracle Investments. So today we're going to discuss some questions. One of the things that I do, and all of you should do, when you're investing in a company is ask questions. Ask lots of questions, hard questions about the company. You've got to be honest and truthful with yourself. Regardless of how bullish you may be on a company, ask questions. And this way you can find out, is this company somebody I truly want to invest my money into? So one of the huge questions that comes up about Tesla is, what about their competition? And so today we're going to do some question asking. And I will look to you guys in the comments to provide some of the answers that you have known. And I'm going to do some further research for a video that I'm going to put out this weekend, really diving into more details about all of this. And I'll use some of the information that you guys provide me with. Perhaps I won't be able to find it myself. And this way we can put together true numbers. But today we're going to ask a lot of questions, and I want your feedback so, just so we can see what are we investing in. And just to be clear, and you'll see as we get on with this, I'm not bearish on Tesla, still super bullish, and you're going to see by this questioning why I'm even more bullish about Tesla through this questioning process. So one of the first and major questions you need to ask is, how many EVs are these manufacturers producing? Honestly, Tesla is going to be pushing, the 900,000 vehicles produced this year mark. Is anybody even close to that? BYD maybe, but go through the full list and, give me a full list. You've got to go through GM, Ford, Stellantis, VW, NIO, XPeng, all of the companies, every single company out there who is actually producing a significant number of EVs at scale right now, and what are their plans for the future? And the plans for the future, you got to take with a grain of salt because everybody has hopes, but as Elon has mentioned, scaling is the hard part. Who is actually scaling? And then the next most important question, of course, is how many vehicles are they selling? So how many of these vehicles that they have produced have they sold? I know currently my Model Y is still sitting at an ETA of October. That is a 10-month lead time. I'm assuming it's going to drop down once Austin starts to ramp up, but it's still a 10-month lead time. What other manufacturers out there have a 10-month lead time on their vehicles? And no, an 18-month lead time on the Chevy Bolt does not count, because it doesn't count when you can't produce a vehicle that is safe for the public. And you have to push off production by 18 months. Yeah, that doesn't count as lead time. I mean, we have some automotive manufacturers out there claiming to be the leader in EVs, yet they only sold 1/3 of the EVs that Tesla sold last year. So, questioning the definition of leader, but either way, how many vehicles have these people sold? And then my next question is, what's the ramp speed? Great, Tesla has the lead. Clearly they are far in the lead, but do other manufacturers have the ability to ramp up faster than Tesla to be able to catch them? We know the answer. So the answer is no, nobody has that ability to ramp like Tesla does. And if they do get to that point, it's going to be years, and by the time they get there, they'll be at where Tesla's ramp speed is now, and where will Tesla be in the future? Far beyond that. So that's the next question I ask is, can anyone catch Tesla? No. And then we can get to some financials, like what are the costs for this company? How efficient is their spending? Well, when I look at pure EV manufacturers, they're investing their money into EVs and building the future up of their EV technology and growing their businesses. When you look at legacy automakers who are making ICE vehicles, they are spending money on ICE vehicles and EVs. And so their debt is just going to continue to go higher. Now, all of them have made commitments to change to all EVs in the future, which means that their profits from ICE vehicles is going to come down just so that they could try to raise the profits on their EVs. They have all stated that it is nearly impossible to make money on EVs currently. So they're going to be having to remove their profitable vehicles to produce non-profitable vehicles, and they have to invest money into that. So they're making less money to be able to invest, and that means that they will have less money to invest, which means that they're now going to have to borrow more money and go further and further into debt just to produce a vehicle that is not making them any money. So when you're looking at efficiency of their finances and spending, it's the legacy automakers are going to have a very hard time, and they're going to struggle quite a bit in overcoming this, because when you think about when you're like building a house, it is always significantly easier and more efficient and less expensive to build from the ground up than it is to remodel an entire house that is currently standing. And that is currently what these legacy automakers are facing, is they have to spend money to tear down their old business that they know and that business model to create a new one. So there's a lot of spending that has to go in both directions for them, and not as much money coming in. And speaking of spending, who is spending on advertising? Because advertising is a huge piece of a lot of manufacturers' budgets. Who is advertising? I mean, I know I see all the time when I'm watching videos on YouTube, ads for GM and Ford and VW and all these other manufacturers. I have yet to see one Tesla advertisement other than the ones from Hertz that are paid for by Hertz. I mean, tell me, who else out there that you know of, is not running advertisements for their vehicles? That is a huge piece of a budget that Tesla doesn't spend. And another question is, how efficient are these manufacturers? I like to look at, Einstein. Einstein said, he always chose the same outfit every single day because it was one less thing he had to worry about, so he could focus on other things that were more important. So when you're looking at a lot of these automotive makers and they've got 25 and 30 different models of EVs that are out there, they're scattered in so many different directions, that is a very inefficient model. Tesla chooses a model and says, this model here, we're going to make this one in this category the most awesome vehicle in that category that has ever been made. We're just going to dominate with that one. Let it go. We're going to move on to the next category. That's it. They don't have multiple different styles within a category. And so that's what Tesla does. Tesla is so super efficient because they have a lot less things that they're worrying about. Less parts, less models. This is it, very simple. Less confusion, less brain power having to go into things. And they can just focus on the important stuff, which is making the best quality vehicles with the lowest price and best cost out there. And speaking of efficiency, how about vertical integration? How vertically integrated are these manufacturers? And it has been proven that the more vertically integrated you are, the more efficient you are, the more stuff is in your control, which means that the more stuff you can get done by yourself without having to rely on others. That also keeps the cost way down. How vertically integrated are all of these other companies? Well, as we know, Tesla produces the majority of their stuff in-house. Most of what they need for themselves is all produced in-house. And I believe, nothing factual yet, but I have no doubt Elon Musk is actually going to create a university down in Texas where they can actually vertically integrate their own engineers. Sure, you can vertically integrate parts and everything all you want, but how about your labor? How about your intelligence? Well, if you create a school where you can personally train all of these people from the ground up as well, you don't get much more vertically integrated than that. No one else is going to have that. Another big question I have been asking is, what is the cost to destroy their business model? And this is in particular for obviously the legacy automakers, because, yes, we're really focusing on getting into EVs. All the legacy automotive makers have said, these are our commitments, we're going to go for it. But what is the cost to destroy that old business model? Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, they produce ICE vehicles at scale, so they should be able to produce EVs at scale because they know how to scale. It doesn't work that way. When you get into manufacturing, you're not using the same tools. You're not using the same machines. You have to literally either retool everything similar to what Tesla did in Fremont years and years ago, or you have to build from the ground up, which Tesla has already been doing as well, and even you can see that they have struggles with that also. So, scaling is not easy. There's a huge learning curve that you have to go through in order to get there. For anyone who did not see the interview from the Stellantis CEO yesterday, he had stated just that. He said the learning curve is so steep for a lot of these automotive makers that they're not going to be able to overcome it. The costs to actually produce, research, develop, and make sure that you're putting out a vehicle that is quality and safe for people is going to be a money-losing business for them, similar to what it was for Tesla in the beginning. It's just the nature of natural business. And so you're thinking, oh, these automotive makers can just flip the switch. There's no switch to be flipped. Tesla went through 15 years of money losing before they finally became profitable. So with these other automotive makers, they're going to be in the same boat, and maybe they can speed up the learning curve a little bit because Tesla did a lot of that struggle for them, but they're still going to be, a good 4, 5, 6 years plus of these companies trying to make their EV section profitable. And so when you try to get into that, how is this company going to be able to make money when they're spending 6 years to become profitable in one area, when over that 6 years they're becoming less profitable in their ICE vehicles because they have to in order to switch to EVs? There's the learning curve that is going to be so hard for so many of these automotive makers, and the Stellantis CEO had hit on it. And I will put that link in the description down below so you guys can take a look at that entire article. So for me, in the end, when I am looking at investing my money in somewhere, yes, I love getting emotional over things. I love getting excited about Tesla. I love getting excited about any of my investments. But I do so on a factual basis. And I try to look at all the facts that are involved and true numbers that I see, and not just hopium and all the different, rah things that these other automotive makers are putting out. It's like, show me the truth. Show me what you can actually do right now to prove to me that you can do that in the future. And nobody else is doing that. And I'll always keep monitoring it because I can always be surprised. But as far as I'm concerned, even if they can prove it, it's going to be like, okay, now prove it consistently. Tesla has proven that they consistently can do this, and they will consistently grow, and they'll consistently exponentially grow faster and do it better than everyone else. Let me know in the comments below any of the answers that you have to all of these questions that I posed here today. And as I said, I'm going to look at getting true actual numbers for you guys for a video I'm going to try to put out this weekend so that we can actually do true comparisons, because that is actually what it comes down to, is what are the actual numbers that are being produced, what are the actual numbers that are being sold, and do a straight comparison of all of this stuff so we can genuinely, see who is going to succeed, who is not going to succeed, who has potential to succeed. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Like this video and sign yourself up for notifications. Again, you guys are all awesome. Thank you all so much for everything, and I will see you later.